Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Coffee Chat. It's time for some coffee, some chatting. Maybe we find out something new about somebody today. Maybe we find something out new about you. I feel like Mr. Rogers right there, which is not a bad thing. Kind of a hero of mine. In fact, there are three heroes that I currently have. I mean, besides my parents, because they had to tolerate me. But no, they did better than tolerate, though. They did a pretty good job. They did an okay job. I don't know. It's up to everybody else. Anyway, my three heroes. I don't know if you've got three heroes, but I do. By the way, this is Coffee Chat. Stop by, chat for a little bit. You can either do that through the comments or you can do that through actually coming on to the show. I'm going to have that scrolling down at the bottom annoyingly the entire time, unless you guys ask me to take it off. Uh, so yeah, let's talk about heroes, like personal heroes. And I've got three really odd, different heroes. Unfortunately, all white males. I mean, you can take that for what it is. It's not intentional. It's just I think these three people each encompass something completely different from one another, and I think all of them are incredibly good. So we'll start with the obvious. Mr. Rogers is absolutely a hero of mine, and I know that probably surprises some people because they think I'm much snarkier than I actually am. But I'm actually not a snarky person. I tend to think of myself as kind of not that, believe it or not. I just come off that way, or people just automatically assume that. I don't know. It's really interesting how many people are like, "You're the naysayer," and I'm like, "No, man, I'm the one actually backing you up behind the scenes whenever anybody says anything bad." So Mr. Rogers is actually my one of my heroes. I think that his work with kids was amazing. I wish I liked kids enough to do that kind of stuff. I just don't have the patience. And I feel like I'm being kind when I don't do things like that with kids because I don't have that patience. Anyway, and I really respect people that do. I think it's wonderful. But I just love the fact that he just made people feel good. Like, I remember being a kid watching Mr. Rogers. Now, I didn't have an issue at home. Like, I was very loved at home. But it was still really nice to hear another adult tell you that he loved you and like you were okay. And I know that a lot of people are like, that's, you got to earn love. No, I think everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves love. You earn respect. That's the thing you do earn. And speaking of respect, I have a lot of respect for Steve Jobs. Now, a lot of people look at Steve Jobs and they think, man, what a complete a-hole. And yeah, he was. He was not a good guy in all aspects, but he was something that I am not, and he was a doer. So in the story of Apple, there's two Steves. It's a story of two Steves. There's Steve Jobs, who was Steve Jobs, and then there was Steve Wozniak, who was, a lot of people will argue like there would be no Apple if there was no Steve Wozniak. It's probably true. He is still brilliant, but the thing with Steve Wozniak was he was brilliant, but didn't know how to get the message out. Steve Jobs knew how to get the message out. That's kind of who I am. Is I'm sort of the Steve Wozniak. Like I know a lot of things, but I have a hard time like getting out in front of people. And so, and actually, there's a test you can take. It's called the What's My CVI. Here, I'm gonna actually put it up because I think it's pretty. Whoops, not that. I need to do this. What's my CVI.com. And what I like about the what's my CVI.com is that it's a test you take. It takes like 5 minutes. You can take it now if you want, whatever. But it takes 5 minutes. And what's amazing about it is you get a little bit of insight about yourself. And what I found out about myself is I'm what's called an innovator, innovator merchant. And so what that means is that I have ideas, but I have a hard time getting them started because I always want them perfect. So when you marry me with, not marry in the romantic sense, but when you put me together with someone who's a doer, or in the CVI scheme of things called the builder, man, it is electric. We get so much stuff done because ideas are popped up, and then I'm like, well, we should noodle on this a little bit, and the builder's always like, why are we noodling? Let's get this done. And it's like, okay, well, we got to get it done. So it's really good to find that like nice balance. I think that there is a great balance to be had. And for me, I need somebody who's there just going, let's just get it done. Let's just do it. I sat on writing a book for a pretty long time until it was like, gun to my head, I had to do it. So that's when I did it. But it's always much more fun when somebody else is there and they're like a partner in the whole scheme of things. So we've got Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, exudes sort of the loving aspect about myself. I really do respect everything he did. Steve Jobs, because it's a respect thing because he did things I don't imagine I could do. Um, but I aspire to. And that's the thing is like I aspire to be that self motivator and be able to do those things. So I really like Steve Jobs. And then the last one is David Bowie, and it started off, my love affair with David Bowie started with his music, but it quickly turned into it's actually related to business, believe it or not. Hey, well, good morning. I hope your kale toast or whatever you made no, it wasn't toast. There was actually not toast involved. Uh, oh, no, that looks delicious for breakfast. I would show a picture of it, but I don't think I can. Um, or maybe I can. If I Give me a second, let me get through my little spiel here. And if you want to stop my spiel, jump on the stream because that way I have to talk to you and I can't talk about myself. Right now, all I can do is talk about myself because I'm basically interviewing myself. Anyway, so David Bowie was always at the forefront of everything. He was always ahead of the game as far as what was trending and um, was not afraid to change. It's cornbread. All right, I'm gonna try and get a picture up. Hold on. Um, I just really admired that. It just was not something I necessarily could say was was something I I'm not necessarily really good at that. All right, look at that. That's what Marianne's having for breakfast. It's cornbread and it's kale. Is there eggs in that? Yep, the egg. That looks pretty good. I would eat that. I would definitely eat that. I'm not a big fan of kale though. I don't. And I'm sure that there are people out there, but like I just don't buy into the everybody loves kale. I live in Portland, and I understand like there's laws. It's a requirement to live here, but I'm just not a big fan. I just don't like the texture or the taste or anything about it. I like, I guess, what it does to my body, supposedly. I don't know. Is that fake news? Probably not. It's probably true. I should probably just shut up and eat the kale. That's probably what I should do. It's what we should all be doing. Anyway. Um, so anyway, those are my three people. I don't know why I even got on that subject. Oh, I think it was because it needs a lot of salt. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one thing that you can do to any dish is add salt and it makes it saltier. And let's be honest, we like salt. I'm a big fan of salt. I when you finish the popcorn tub and there's that like layer of butter or goo and salt at the bottom, depending on how much oil and butter you use, I tend to use a lot. I like butter and oil, but I use bacon grease actually. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Pro tip: save your bacon grease and put it in your popcorn. Anyway, I like to get the like finger down at the bottom and get it all on your finger, and then I know we're not supposed to do that now, but I guess I used to do that when there weren't you weren't gonna die from it. Uh, yeah. What else is going on in the world today? Um, It's beautiful weather out here in Portland. I cannot wait. One of the things I started doing is I started walking with an audiobook. I haven't listened to a lot of audiobooks. Actually, in the last year, I haven't. I'm a massive audiobook reader. Processor. I get in trouble by saying reading, but I guess I process books through Audible. And I have like 200 books, 250, maybe 300 books, and I've finished eh, half of them. But there's like 150 books I have not read or processed through Audible. So it's nice because I started walking and listening to those as well. I'm listening to a book right now, which I can't remember the name of. It's a marketing book, and it's really actually helping me quite a bit. Because and I say this often, I'm a decent salesperson, at least decent, if not good. A terrible marketer, especially self-promoter. I'm actually really bad at it. I always feel bad about every time I self-promote. And especially on social media, I do it because I feel like I have to, but I hate doing it, but I don't know how else to do it. Especially right now. Like, how else are you supposed to market anything right now except through Facebook and annoying the shit out of your friends and family, which would be you. Yeah. Sorry. You're going to see stuff. That's all there is to it. One of the things I will say is talking into an empty camera is shockingly both the easier thing to do and the harder thing to do because I have to keep thinking of questions I want to ask myself, but I don't get to ask the questions out loud because that looks crazy. If I'm like, "Hey, Stuart, how's your day?" and then I turn over here and I'm like, "Oh, it's going okay." Like I got some stuff I got to do later on, and it's like, "Oh, that sounds awful. Like, what kind of things do you have to do today?" And it's like, "Oh, well, I've got to." I feel like I should be using voices here, by the way. Well, I got a Zoom call at 10:30. That's cool. What happened to your voice right there? Well, I just, I tried something different, and that's what popped out. And I'm sorry, it's sort of like a mix between Raymond and a Smurf. Yeah, can you stop doing the voice? Ah! And that's what happens. And no one wants to see that. You just saw it, and it was awful. That's all there is to it. Um, yeah. So, um, next week I'm actually doing I'm trying to do like an online gathering where I talk about, basically it's like the opening to my book or book and course, but it's revolving around COVID-19, C-19. Um, I'll put a link up for it in case you're interested. What I'm excited about with this is the potential for dialogue, um, because I think that we talk a great deal about like what are we doing um, to protect ourselves as far as like how do we get money, how do we claim unemployment, how do we all of those types of things. But I think we need to start like, all right, we go through our period of mourning where it's sort of like, well, yeah, I mean, I think I just lost my headphones. We go through that period of mourning, but then we need to kind of move on to the next thing, if that makes sense. Like at some point, we've got to maybe we've got you've applied for the um, you've applied for the unemployment, you've applied for the loan. If you're a small business owner, if all of those types of things, we finally get that all squared away. We got to get to a point where it's like, all right, now what do we do? And I think that that's the question: is what do we do now? Especially if like you are in sales or you do sell services to people and people are still freaked out, right? Um, but at some point we've got to start thinking, okay, let's turn the page. What are we going to do to actually make things better? How is business going to look This is ridiculous. I'll put it in the comment. That's ridiculously long. Anyway, I think that that's going to be kind of an interesting, kind of a necessary thing going forward. And the reason is because I think people are right now, they're binge watching Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and all of those things. I get it, man. Like it's nice to be able to to like zone out and do that and escape. Um, but it's got to be a nice mix. If we get through this COVID-19 thing, and the only thing that you can brag about, the only thing you can say about it is like, I got all the way through Schitt's Creek. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but like at the same time, what did you gain? And I think we can start doing work now. If you start doing work now, it's actually going to help for when we get through this. And I mean that not so much in like maybe even not in a self improvement way, but more in a getting your brain wrapped around, hey, we need to start thinking about what's happening afterwards. Or if you're in sales, like right now in sales, this is probably a good time to kind of start contacting customers. If you have access to your CRM or if you have access to your book of business, start contacting customers. Don't wait until afterwards to call them up and be like, "Hey, boy, that was awful. You still in business?" Like, do it now. Call them now and get in touch with them now. And I think that that's important. And that's kind of the thing we're going to be talking about is how do you get on the phone with someone now? How do you get in contact with them and let them know, hey, you're not just a number to me. You're actually something important to me. And getting to a point where when this is all over, they do need services, they do need products, they do need help, that they have someone they can go to and they feel trust. It's just going to build trust. So this is a time where we can build trust, we can build confidence, and more importantly, we can build. If you get out of this, let's put it this way: at the end of this crisis, whenever it ends, do you think there are going to be more jobs or less jobs available than there were beforehand? This is something to seriously think about. And if you are a realist, you're going to realize like they are not ramping up to pre-COVID numbers. Companies are going to not hire back everybody they furloughed. They are not going to hire back everyone that they put on layoffs. Like, just keep this in mind. Your role may have been deemed non-essential now. It may be deemed non-essential after. So the things that you do during, oh, hey, Scotty McPherson. Hey, I need to get headphones on. Whoa, doing all sorts of things. Hey, man.
How are you?
Good. I haven't seen you in a very long time. You
It
look
has been.
exactly the same, except longer facial hair.
Yeah. Well, I can't get a haircut.
That's true. Although, have you seen all the people trying?
Yeah. No, I've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying.
I do it all the time. I just gave up. Just gave up. Just stopped fighting that fight. What are you up to?
I am up to nothing.
Yeah, aren't we all?
I'm actually okay with nothing, but
Yeah. Yeah, you are, to introduce you to everybody, you're probably one of the most, and I hate to use this because I feel like I'm too old to use this expression, but you are one of the most chill people I know. And just a joy to be around. So I'm actually so glad you jumped on. Thanks. You telling me to be quiet? Stop talking
no, I
about
was
you?
telling my wife to be quiet
Ah,
in a
tell her I
nice
said
way.
hi. So, well, so what are you doing with your day today? What is that thing? What is that day? What does your day look like?
Yeah, any day, shower, try to keep up moving.
Yeah.
We had snow this morning here, so
You're in Ohio, correct?
yeah.
Yeah. That might my sister and my brother-in-law are in Ohio as well. They were on yesterday. It's a
Yeah, it was
big Ohio, big fans of this show in Ohio.
it was 70 degrees a couple days ago, and now it's snowing.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's such a weird time of year. Um, Denver's very similar, where it's like, it's 70 degrees and snowing. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't even work. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, not unfortunately it's not 70 degrees here, but
No. And are you still working at the casino? You were working at a casino for
yeah.
a while.
Yeah, no, I was working for Hard Rock, and then MGM purchased them, and that's where I'm at today. I'm currently furloughed, so
Yeah.
uh, you know, but I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
what
that's
it
good.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're not fixing it. Like that's
No.
how I look at it. I can't fix it, so I might as well figure out something to do. So
Yeah.
I do this. Why not? I have the technology. I'll just go ahead and use it, whether people want me to or not.
Right.
Broadcasting at you is basically what it boils down to. Yeah. Well, how is everybody? Is everybody doing good? I mean, it's obviously the weather's back
Yeah.
and
No,
forth, but
everybody's good. We're getting old, but other than
yeah,
that,
I mean that happens. And
yeah.
Tanya's still tolerating everything,
Yeah.
even though
She's
you're
laughing.
here all the time.
Yeah, she's laughing in the background, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She's kind of got no choice. I drug her to Ohio,
yeah,
so she couldn't leave.
yeah. It's like yeah, you can hang out here with the Amish. Are you close to Amish people?
Yeah,
The Amish country?
we're probably 45 minutes away from a couple different Amish sects. Yeah,
Yeah. The donuts are good.
yeah. I don't get out there quite very much. You know, they're pretty much 9 to 5 people, and if you work, it's difficult to get out there.
Yeah.
But
And they don't come to the casino?
no, well, no, not often. You know, it certainly. I think you know, I think their communities are shrinking as well. They're certainly not growing. You've got Mennonite, and then you've got Amish, and there's
Yeah.
certainly there's a lot of Mennonites out there that I talked to a guy, and he was a tree guy, and he had a crew of Amish people working for him, but he had a truck and a cell phone, and he goes, you can't make money without a truck. So
Yeah, I on my podcast, I actually had someone who was a previous Mennonite, and she turned into a stripper. So
yikes,
that was yeah.
that's a pretty aggressive transformation.
That's a big transformation. Yeah, pretty great. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's hard to like really escape all possible influences of technology and modern world.
Yeah.
It really is. Like even if you go camping, like I don't know how you go camping, but like I definitely don't. I glamp. I don't
Yeah,
like doing the.
you have to work hard at it. I actually camp with a group of guys every year, and last year was the first year I did not take a motor home. And if they were done, doing something around the campfire, I was going in watching DVDs and
Right.
turn on the air conditioner. Last year I actually made a purposeful decision to stay in the tent, and I really enjoyed it. But you're right, it's very difficult. One of the guys I was camping with was into some kind of fighting or something, and I mean, he's like walking around trying to stream these live fights
Yeah.
and stuff on his cell phone, and
Right. You're only hoping that your campground's near some sort of a cell tower, or the
right.
cell tower's up on the mountain and it's beaming down to you.
But
Um,
I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm going this fall again, and I'm definitely staying in a tent again, and I may even try to do without a cell phone. It's very difficult to
it is.
separate yourself from the outside world. I do a pretty good job. I'm lucky to have a good family that doesn't mind not hearing from me. They know when I go that they don't hear from me very often.
Right.
But it's amazing how much effort you have to put in to disconnect yourself today.
It is. And well, because time goes slower, because it really does. It genuinely goes slower for you, I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're just sitting around the campfire and you're like, yeah, I'm relaxed. All right, well, that must have been 2 hours. You look at your, or you monitor that. Yeah, you set a sundial up or whatever you're doing. And then you look and it's like, oh, it's been 20 minutes.
Right. Right.
Like no time has passed, and I feel like I need to go do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you start playing with fire. That's never good.
Well, that's the big challenge. It's just firewood, and how we were there for a week, so we were resorting to stealing other people's firewood. We had a fire going the whole time, but uh,
Yeah, I find it's best to go camping, like go Sunday to like Tuesday, because everybody's leaving either Sunday or Monday, and they
yeah,
always say, "Hey, we got a whole bunch of firewood we didn't use." I'm like, "Perfect, right?"
right,
I saved like $20 on
right,
firework doing
right.
it this way.
There's something, yeah, in Ohio anyway. Oregon's probably not too much different, but if you pay for firewood, there really is something wrong with you. I mean, there's trees laying down all over the place. So
Yeah, the problem is I don't have like so my relationship with fire is pretty bad. Like I have a hard time. I don't know why, but I have a very difficult time actually getting a fire started and maintaining it. I don't know why. It's a mental block, I think. I don't know what it is, but I do. I have a difficult time, and so I always fall prey to the buy this firewood because it's dry and it's gonna work. And
yeah, no, I got to say, last year where I ended up getting most of my firewood, it was wet, and I had to go buy those like logs with the glue and stuff in them that you can't put out, and but eventually it caught on. But
yeah, yeah, you put enough fire on anything, it'll catch.
yeah, again, it's something you got to prepare for. What you
Yeah.
do, the work you do today. Firewood, it really takes a year for it to be cut and split before it's able to burn, and we don't live in that society anymore. We live in
No.
the let's go cut it down and burn it now, and it doesn't
Yeah,
work that way.
exactly. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's still moist on
Right.
the inside. It's still got tree blood or
Yes.
sap or whatever it's called.
Something.
Something. um, yeah, that's cool. Gosh, I'm so bad with camping. And last time I went, I keep meaning to do that like solo trip, like that 127 days or whatever that movie was, where you just go out and do it, battle wilderness by yourself and
Yeah.
like some sort of rite of passage as a man or whatever. And every time I go, I think I'm gonna go do it. I'm like, there's a concert playing. Yeah, Oregon has a Let's Go Camping program that teaches non-campers how to camp. Oh,
There you go.
a bunch of other non-survivalists.
If you go ditch yourself in the wood for 127 days, you got to figure it out though. So it's kind of like
It's so
trial by
true.
fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you do figure it out, or you figure out where the nearest McDonald's is, because
Right.
there's got to be a McDonald's or a Starbucks nearby somewhere,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's only a drive-through. I'm walking. Like
Right.
whatever.
Either that or you're eating worms and acorns, one of the two.
Yeah, a lot of worms and acorns. You put the right mix together, and it's tasty. It's
Yeah.
mealy, meaty. What do you do at the casino when you do work?
Purchasing.
Oh,
Same thing I did before.
there you go.
Buy toilet paper, and it was interesting. Prior to all the shutdown, of what they made me buy to try to. It was like everybody was fighting for gloves and
Yeah.
goggles, and I ended up buying like 250,000 rubber gloves, 3,000 pairs of these goggles that I have no idea still to this day what they're going to use them for. They're pretty cool. I did take a set, but uh,
Well, samples.
yeah.
Samples.
Well,
I mean, we
there was no
remember
time for
samples from our
but
back.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
did you take any toilet paper samples? Because that would have been.
no, quite honestly, I was really surprised. I had a couple vendors. I mean, they did do a good job of, allocating. So like, I couldn't go buy somebody that I hadn't bought stuff from out of something. So sanitize, all of the
Oh,
things that
sure.
you would think they would need. I was able to get what I was buying from the person I was buying it from, but they
Wow.
pretty much all put a halt on like being able to just go out and buy up everything from somebody, and so it did help. I mean, luckily we didn't use we used quite a bit of stuff anyway, so it was just a matter of keeping up those commitments. So I was glad nobody was stealing mine, because the opposite could have happened as well. So
Oh, totally. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, that would be. That would be. I had a train of thought here and I lost it. That's actually pretty amazing that you could continue going to the same person or same company for all of that stuff. Because, um, oh, that's what I was going to think about. So I was thinking about the whole toilet paper thing. All right, so you and I in the past have worked in uh, commerce
Right.
together, right? All right. By the way, we could probably talk a little bit about that. That might be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but I I was thinking about this whole toilet paper thing and the limits. I actually have a hard time with limits. Like I think limits are pretty bad. But I was like, why aren't they just raising the price of toilet paper? And then anything past a certain point, like they donate to the local food banks.
Right.
That would have cut down on people hoarding, right? Like if you're paying twice the amount for toilet paper, you're probably going to buy half as much. And then that could also fund some local food banks or something. I don't. I
Yeah.
was
No,
thinking like,
I guess you'd have to monitor who was donating the excesses where, and there's been Ohio's been very aggressive. In fact, I think they're one of the most aggressive states in the country as far as shutting stuff down early and all the rules that they put in place. And they're like going after people that are selling stuff. So if you're on Amazon and you're price gouging, they're going after you. They're arresting you. You know, and these
hmm,
people are all sorry they did it, and
of
and
course,
I mean, it is what the market bears, I guess, and
yeah,
but there's no, they're donating now that they got caught. They're like, oh well, we'll donate
right,
all this,
right,
everything we have left. Well, yeah, that would have been good if it were set up in the beginning, but
right.
I was, I know the place that I worked, we had, I mean, we had 7 restaurants, and I mean, we had an incredible amount of food on the property, and we had an incredible amount of food that I mean, several $1 million worth of food that we had already committed to that was on its way. Some of which we were able to stop, but a lot of it we ended up donating, and I know they did a good job. And when I left 3 weeks ago, and they were freezing what they could and trying to save what they could, but I know they've made several trips to the food bank, and MGM Worldwide has donated. I mean, they've shut all their properties down, so it was pretty amazing that to
Yeah,
see that quantity of stuff, and what do you do with it? I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. Hey, Henry, how much food have you donated to food banks?
I
he's
have
on the
no idea.
golf course.
I have
Yeah.
not donated anything, unfortunately,
What about golf
but I
balls? Have you
will.
donated any golf balls to watering
We
holes?
actually do. We do wounded warrior
Okay.
donation of golf balls all the time.
Well, that's
It's
cool.
actually
That's cool.
we go around the lake and pick up a bunch and then take them down. One of the guys takes them down and they take them and sell them and make some money off of them and donate
Yeah,
them.
that's
So
amazing. I actually ran into a guy up here in the Pacific Northwest that did the same thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I made one hundred and
I
fifty
think I
thousand
lost him.
dollars last year doing it." Oh, oh, yeah, that's a big business. Secondhand golf balls.
Oh, it's pretty amazing. Golf course and then the lake that we have right near our house here. There's probably like 10,000 golf balls in it. So once
Yeah,
in a while, some kids will come down and they'll just try to post up and take a bunch of golf balls. And the course owner gets mad about it because he says, "I own all these golf balls," So
so
they'll come
you can come grab these
rustle them out
golf
of town.
balls off my cold, wet body.
Exactly. Yeah, big money apparently.
Yeah,
Hey, it's
that's
nice to
good.
see old prize friends.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that mountain dude for a long time.
I know it has been a
It's been
while.
it's been a
been at
while.
least a decade for both of you guys since I've seen you. Or maybe I saw
Yeah, it's
Scott at
true.
yes, maybe.
Yeah. No, so now where are you at? You don't look like
Oh, he's in Florida. It's warm there.
Coming out a little bit.
Florida. Yeah, good. That's nice. Florida's a nice spot when it's not hurricanes or
It is. Yeah,
crazy people.
yeah, actually, we're kind of in that place that they don't really have the hurricanes, and you know, we're like just along the coast in north part of Florida,
Oh, that's cool.
so it's
That's
it's a
cool.
nice little area.
All right, so we've got three ex fries guys here. Let's ask the question. Can we ask the question?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you gonna make it? Like I was in I was in the store here and I was
All
like,
right.
oh my.
Now, does this get recorded? So I can be frank or not?
I can hide it.
All right, no, that's okay. Then I'll keep it PG rated then.
Maybe we could discuss this on another channel, but yeah, keep it PG. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. No, they're just selling some property.
Yeah. Oh, we did lose it.
Initially
Okay.
was really good for turning inventory because people went from being workers on their outside of the world into their house, and they need all kinds of equipment. So they like almost tripled sales, is what I heard during that initial run.
Oh,
And so that was helpful for them. But of course, they shut down the store operations now, so it's just curbside pickup and delivery.
mm-hmm.
So who knows? I haven't been in touch with anybody too extensively since September when I left. But
Oh, okay. Oh, you were way more recent than I thought. Oh my.
yeah, actually, I take that back. August.
Okay.
I put my notice in, gave them like 30 days. So I guess I was really kind of by July. So I was relocating. And I said, I'll give you guys as much time as you want.
Give you a little time to find a replacement.
Yeah. Of course, they're in a position where they were scaling back anyway. So I figured they wouldn't replace me, and they divvy up my stuff up to other people. And it's kind of what they did.
Yeah, the last contact I had with anybody at Fry's was Raj, because I sold him mattresses.
Oh, cut out.
Yeah, I helped put mattresses in Fry's.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really kind of a lackluster experience. I don't think.
Yeah, they did it
all
wrong.
the effort in that they should have to make that work.
They really should have put more effort into it, but it's okay.
No. But I guess they didn't. They didn't have a lot of inventory, so they made some gross profit dollars out of it. But
They
it could have
did
been a
make
big business if they really committed to it.
Yeah, that's okay. But
Just
yeah, I mean,
realized
so many. I think back to all those days and like how many stories came out of. I mean, stories come out of any workplace, right? But there were some really crazy stories that came out of Fry's. Do either of you have any stories you'd be willing to share? Like Scott, do you have a story?
Scott, I'm sure has some good ones that are PG.
It might involve some people.
I say
that still
PG.
work
I just
there.
mean that you could share.
How many? I know I had 2 corporate policies that were made because of the things that I did. So
You could just list off the corporate policies.
I wrecked the first rental car before we were all on.
Okay.
I was probably on the top 5 of people that got policies written for them based on that.
Good.
Was number 1.
It's not a record you want to hold, but
But you got it.
It was just the sheer numbers of years I was there kind of allowed me to get to that point.
True.
So Scott, what did you do with a car? I want to hear this one.
Well, we were when we were opening up stores. I don't know, 14 through whatever. I think it was actually in Oregon. We finally took a day off when we were on the A team, and we were playing basketball. And I parked. They wanted to listen to music while we played basketball, so I parked the rental car right next to the basketball hoop. And when I went to take off, I turned the wheel a little too sharp and hit the basketball hoop. And found out abruptly that I was not covered under Fry's insurance because we had,
No.
I think I may have been the only one with the valid license and old enough to drive at the time. But well, I definitely wasn't letting Eduardo Saclolo drive. That's for sure. No way.
Couldn't reach the pedals.
I do remember that era of time was a time when policies hadn't been written for a lot of the things that were about to take place during the massive growth period, and there was a lot of experiences of things that occurred during that period of time, that some of which you wouldn't want to share, and then some are okay. But yeah, I remember actually the very first time we brought in a bunch of people, we put them up in this hotel, and didn't give them any guidelines on what they could spend money on. And I remember people ran up, like just in dry cleaning alone, they ran up like $150 bills just in dry cleaning for themselves in a week. And then everybody started getting the bills in, and they're just like, oh my God, we have to actually write some policies on what happens when people get out and about. And then as I think as the world changed and people started to realize how sexual harassment affects everybody, boy, then it really got complex of what you should be doing when you're out on the road.
Yeah.
I left way before any of that. So
well, you're back in the old days where it was just yippee-ki-yay.
The Wild West, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of marriages started at Fry's.
Yes.
That was a part of it.
Now
And
I'm married
ended.
to my wife that I
And
met.
ended. Yeah, I can.
Oh, yes.
Probably
I
the
can
worst
count.
story is you remember when those electric scooters came out, the Razors? Well, I was
Right.
customer service manager at Fremont, and we had marble floors in that store, and at night I was running around checking all the doors on the scooter, and my last stop I was in receiving, and I forgot to put the kickstand up on the down, or put it back up when I got on the scooter. So I'm cruising about 30 miles an hour across Fremont Store, and I went to take a turn down the center aisle, and the kickstand hit the floor, the marble floor, and just slid and wiped out this an entire end cap of product. Well, I got up and looked around. Nobody saw me. I thought I got away with it clean. And a couple of years later, when I was in the corporate
That's
office,
awesome.
this video surfaced of me.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Especially when I got up off the ground and looked around to make sure nobody saw me, and what I did to clean it all up. And that was the gold standard of merchandising policy.
There you go.
I think that was my second one.
Scott, you're painting, for anybody who hasn't met you that's watching a broadcast over time, you're painting a picture of yourself as like a Gerald Ford character. Back in the day, you used to always fall downstairs and do all this.
Oh, yeah. No, hey.
I think that's kind of on brand for what I remember.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember my moment of like klutziness is I was just visiting one of my first stores as a district manager, and we'd opened up Tempe. I was going to visit Dave Burt. Remember Dave Burt as a store manager, and I was doing my Mopar, and we were recapping, and I was kind of walking along with Dave, and we were just kind of intently talking. In the old Incredible Universe stores, they had all those pillars that got exposed when they kind of opened the store up. So I don't think I was paying much attention, and I literally just went straight into one of those girders with my head, just straight on. But I was kind of like I had like a little bit of like, hey, I'm the new guy going out doing this. I don't want to make a big deal of it. So I was just like, yeah, Dave, and it made like that sound that you would imagine like a frying pan would make when it hit a person's head. You've seen it in cartoons, I'm sure. And that sound was just deafening. And I say, Dave, I'm going to go out to the car real quick. I got to go grab something. And I walked out to the car immediately afterwards, and there was like blood just coming down from my forehead. Wiped it all off. Waited a little bit till it was okay, and I went back inside, and it was like, and I finally admitted, I was like, dude, that thing rung my bell. No policies.
All that aside, though,
no policies written, but the next time I came in, they had made a really big deal about padding that one girder that I hit, just in case.
Then Henry proofed it.
Yes.
It's pretty great.
All that aside, though, I do have to say that was probably the best education that I had ever received in my life. I've only had a couple of jobs since then, but I was never bored there. There was always something to do. There was always different opportunities. That was the toughest decision I ever made to leave there. It's still and obviously I was young and thought I was invincible, and I wish I'd have stuck it out the other extra 4 years. I didn't realize what 4 years of deferred compensation would do at 10 years.
I never received any deferred compensation. That never happened for me.
What?
Did you leave before that all started? You were there.
No. I was there. I know I had 8 years, but yeah, no, I just never got a check. I don't know.
Actually,
I never know what happened.
What happened is the district managers get to split all the money that people can collect. So I thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Enjoy that Florida golf course. Womp womp.
Yeah, Scott, I agree with you. I think the experience at Fry's, obviously it had its times that were tumultuous, and the growth times were always tough. But it's almost like one of those experiences where a lot of places that were mature companies with huge infrastructures, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to do things at such a quick pace or such a young age in some cases. So I always look back at now already, look back at all those opportunities that people got at young ages, where you got 26-year-old store managers running $100 million businesses, guys that got promoted up through the ranks, buyers, that only worked for the company for a couple of years and didn't have any experience, got to go out and make these huge deals. So, it's fun to hear all the stories of people that have gone on to do different things outside of Fry's and, of course, inside of Fry's.
Yeah,
I traveling to go visit those people.
Yeah. I described it. I might have stolen this from Robert Espiritu, but I was talking to the president of Mitsubishi because I went to another company and bought TVs for a while, and he asked me like, "Oh, what school did you go to? And I was like, F you. And he looked at me and he was like, what? And I was like, Fry's University. I learned everything I know from Fry's. And he was like, oh, man, that's a tough education.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, all the guys that went to go work for Walmart, I think they all went in with, because there's a ton of, I'm sure you know a bunch of those
Oh, yeah,
guys.
Paul was on the show not too long ago.
Oh yeah, great. I haven't watched any of these actually, but I just saw it on, and I saw Scott and you both together. I said, yeah, I'll try to jump on and see.
No, I'm glad you did.
But anyway, yeah, those guys that all went to Walmart, it's like they went to go work for this company that had a huge infrastructure, and their jobs were all very narrow jobs. So they went in to go do those jobs that they had experience in. It was like they were so well rounded in doing all these different things. It made I think them pretty valuable going to work at this huge company. I was really excited when all those guys really went out there, especially guys like Paul and Terrence and Bobby Wolf and some of those guys that went on to get some real good success in the bigger operation and gain a lot of respect for the industry and the college that is Fry's and the buying experience.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I got to say, and having just gone through this, I worked for Hard Rock, for the last 5 years, around 6 years, and Jam took over. And so working for a privately held company is a lot different than working for a publicly held company. And just the amount of, like I said, when I was at Fry's, I felt like what I did mattered. And when you work for a big publicly traded company, it's very difficult to achieve that same feeling. I remember, I don't know. I mean, the category that I bought for at Fry's, I had 5,500 items that I bought. And when I tell people that, they don't believe it. They're like, there's no way you could have,
I remember at one E3, I met the Game Boy Advance accessory buyer for Walmart, which was all of a half of a 4-foot section in all of the stores. And I was like, you do what now? That's amazing.
Yeah.
You get paid how much for that?
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed all those conferences, meeting those guys that had the jobs that I've had. And it's like they had a team of X number of people, and you're like, oh, I do that, and then 10 other things along with it.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward. Maybe I'll call upon you guys for advice when it comes time. So I decided to take a bunch of time off and do a little consulting, but I'm going to go back and enter the workforce at some other company doing something that takes advantage of those experiences I had sometime soon. The plan was after I got married, but we just got married a month ago.
Congratulations.
Turns out it's not the best time to look for a job. So
it's actually kind of a great time to look for a job because you have an excuse if you don't get one.
Wow, Stuart, that's again, that's turning the negative into the positive.
You got to.
How's the book coming along? Let's hear.
The book's great. I'm getting a lot of positive reviews from people. I just need them to put them on Amazon. That's the thing, is go put the reviews on Amazon. Don't just call me and tell me it's great. Amazon reviews are great.
Oh yeah, they reward you with the algorithm quite a bit.
They do. And I've got I think that's going well. I'm working on getting the consulting business going up and running, but yeah, it's good.
Cool. Well, just like a multimedia situation there for you.
It is. I have like 6 screens in front of me right now. It's kind of ridiculous. I look like the computer department at Fry's.
Very good. Well, I'll make sure I haven't had a chance to read anything yet, but I'll take
just if you
and
I'll send you something.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely get out there and put something on Amazon and see if I can encourage others to do as well.
Appreciate it.
Another success story.
Yeah, I would too. All right. Well, I will let you guys get back to it.
Yeah,
golfing or
like I'm freezing up here quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Nice hearing from you guys. Feel free to reach out anytime. And right now I got plenty of time on my hands. So
sounds good.
Reach out.
See you later.
All right. See ya.
All right. See ya.
See you, Scott.
All right. See you, Stuart. Bye-bye.
All right. That's it. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.